Before we get into the finalized NFL playoff picture and playoff bracket, we will be live for every single NFL playoff game this year, just like we've been live for the college football playoff matchups. Hit that sub button if you want to tune in and join us. The NFC playoff picture is set in light of the Sunday Night Football matchup. Congratulations in order to the Detroit Lions, a well-earned number 1 seed. 15-2, one heck of a season, but of course a lot still to go. The Eagles had already locked up the number 2 seed. They sat everybody in Week 18. The Bucs end up getting the 3 seed with a comeback win as the Rams sit their starters, lose to Seattle, and fall down to the number 4 seed. That does put Minnesota, I mean, look, if you had told me going into the year Minnesota wins 14 games, I went, wow, they got the number 1 seed. No, they got the number 5 seed. So great year, some pain there for Minnesota. They're the 5 seed. Commanders and Packers, the last 2 wild card teams. Would have been pretty funny if this had been a 16 wild card race and the Commanders come back and win in the final seconds and the Packers lose in the final seconds. In the end, doesn't matter as much. Commanders, the 6 seed. Packers, the 7 seed. In the AFC, the Chiefs did not try at all against the Denver Broncos, getting Denver in as the 7 seed. The Bills are the 2 seed behind the division winner Chiefs, and then the number 1 seed Chiefs. Ravens have the 3 seed. Texans in the 4 seed. The Chargers, the 5. Steelers, 6. Denver, 7. So a lot of chalk happened in Week 18, but did lead to some changes in the playoff seeding standpoint. Let's look again now at the NFC playoff picture. The Lions have that number 1 seed, and they earned it. They've been really banged up on defense this year, and frankly, I think will benefit from the extra time off and the bye from another NFC North matchup that, of course, just wrapped up on Sunday Night Football. They clinch that number 1 seed, they get the coveted bye, and they have home field advantage throughout the NFL playoffs. Got to keep winning games to maintain that, but they do have that home field advantage. That means the Minnesota Vikings going on the road against the Los Angeles Rams out to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Again, I haven't looked as of filming this to see what the early spreads are. I would fully expect the Vikings are favored on the road against the Rams. Rams are a solid team. They've been a lot scrappier than I think a lot of us maybe thought they were going to be. Looked like they were not going to make the postseason at one point this year. They've rallied pretty hard. Minnesota has done a lot of great things. I do think the Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay rematch or revenge game, whatever you want to call it, is a fun one. I'm excited to see how Brian Flores handles Matthew Stafford as well. So who do you have winning the NFC? Let me know in the comment section of today's show at the pinned comment. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know who you think ends up winning the NFC this year. A rematch, the Packers against the Eagles. Philadelphia hosting Green Bay in this one. Jordan Love leaving the game with an elbow injury. That might have just been funny bone stuff. He also threw on the sidelines mid-game. Did not return because Green Bay was in. Why risk making something worse? They did lose Christian Watson. Philadelphia sat everybody of note in their Week 18 matchup and still picked up the win. Would guess the Eagles are favored in that one. In what might be one of the more competitive wildcard round games, the Commanders on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It sure looked like at one point this week that both of these teams were going to lose. That the Commanders were going to lose to Trey Lance and the Cowboys, and the Bucs were going to lose to Spencer Rattler and the Saints, and both teams made comeback finishes. The Commanders scoring with all of 3 seconds left in the football game. And they get the the 6 seed to take on the Bucs as the 3 seed. Should be a good matchup. Tampa at home looking to do what they did last year. Beats an NFC East team in the first round of the playoffs. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. It is playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks. It's the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Not just pro football, college football as well. This is one of our CFP slates. My boys Jack and I combining on this one. Jeremiah Smith more than receiving yards. Quinn Ewers less than passing yards. Travion Henderson just 47.5 more than. Feels like it's a really good Prize Picks one to throw in there. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. I always advise the flex play. That way, if you get one wrong, you still come out on top. I haven't hit a ton of all threes. I've hit a lot of 2 out of 3s. Jack and I have. He's been on a heater. So download the Prize Picks app today over at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's go to the AFC playoff picture. Number 1 seeded Kansas City Chiefs. They did not try. I saw some people complaining about not playing anybody of note, and I'm like, well, what'd you think they were going to do? Did you really think the Chiefs were not going to, or that they were going to try and play their starters in an inconsequential Week 18 matchup? Like, why would they do that when their quarterback rolled his ankle a couple weeks ago? Like, they're not going to play them. Of course they sat their starters. And the most effort they would have shown is like giving them a drive or two. Like, come on. Chiefs aiming for the three-peats. Tough to do, and we shall see if their voodoo magic runs out or not. Who do you have winning the AFC this year? Asked you for NFC, now AFC, so we're kind of asking for Super Bowl predictions, basically. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Denver, in resounding fashion, did take care of business against the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a 38-0 blowout win, as Bo Nix was 26 of 29 for 321 and 4 scores, by the way. He had an impressive performance there. The Bills maybe got both ends right of not playing their starters in a meaningless game. It seemed like they avoided major injuries. And also the Patriots won and knocked themselves out of the number 1 overall pick. So maybe that's helpful on that front there. Denver on the road against Buffalo. Always the possibility when you're on the road in January of getting some bad weather games. I would argue true football weather games as well. Hopefully that one ends up being a fun matchup. And then somehow, some way, we have another AFC North bloodbath coming up in our direction. Steelers at the Ravens in this one. The Steelers, by the way, should we sound the alarm for Pittsburgh yet? They have not looked very good as of late. The offense has very much struggled. Some of the high variance play you get out of Russell Wilson has gone the wrong direction. They've lost 4 straight games. And on the road, I assume they are underdogs against the Ravens, even with Lamar Jackson's sometimes playoff woes. The Ravens are 12-5. Pittsburgh's 10-7. At one point, this 2-game advantage for the Ravens was flipped. The Ravens have won 4 straight games. Pittsburgh has lost 4 straight games. And instead of being at home in the opening round of the playoffs, the Steelers have to go on the road in this one. Chargers-Texans is the other matchup here. And sometimes see the 5 seed favored over the 4 seed. Again, as of filming, I have not seen any spreads. I'm sure they will be out there, depending on when you watch this video, / I haven't looked to try to find the early lines, but whatever. Texans, I would not be surprised if they are underdogs. They're 10-7. They've kind of backdoored into the postseason a little bit. They've had some struggles on offense. The Chargers have played pretty well as of late. They're actually 11-6. My bad on the typo. It's fine. Chargers have gotten hot at the right time. They've won 3 in a row. There's a handful of teams that are on a winning streak going into this matchup. Chargers, Washington, and Baltimore are certainly among them. So I would not sleep on the Chargers making a bit of a run here. We will have more playoff coverage for you here on the channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed. Actually, before we go, I forgot to mention the playoff schedule, dates, times, and everything here. Chargers on the road against the Texans. That will be the 4:30 p.m. Eastern time game on Saturday. That will be on CBS. So once again, continuing the run of this AFC South team getting to play on the 4:30 slot. That seemingly always ends up being the case somehow with the AFC South winner. Also will be on Paramount Plus, but you have CBS probably, so just do that. The Steelers at the Ravens. That is the 8 p.m. Saturday game. That will be on Prime Video. So if you are doing that game or you want to watch that game, you got to have Amazon Prime for it. And then Bills-Broncos. Denver going to Buffalo, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. That will be on CBS as well. So that is the AFC side of the playoff schedule dates and times. And then this is the NFC side of the playoff picture schedule dates, times. I am just realizing it is AFC, NFC games, then 3 straight NFC games, which I don't know when that's happened, but it happened here this time. I'm just now realizing it, kind of funnily. Packers, Eagles, a classic NFC matchup in the 4:30 p.m. Eastern slot on Fox. Somehow makes sense. Commanders, Bucks, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday Night Football on NBC. And then the Vikings get the Rams, 8 p.m. Eastern. So you benefit a little bit from the Sunday night game, getting the extra day of recovery. You also then have to turn around and go play a Sunday game if you win, if you're Minnesota, which I've never liked, but NFL schedule dictates all. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time, Monday on ESPN.